What if you actually have what it takes? This video, which is part of a series that I'm doing on how to eradicate imposter syndrome to create a meaningful life of riches, I'm going to show you specific tips that will allow you to take this idea, the very reason why you clicked on this video, this idea, this vision, this dream that you have, that you want better for yourself, for your people, that you want to live a life where you actually wake up in the morning with that fire in your chest and you are proud about what you're achieving as you're marching on and creating a beautiful legacy where you are realizing the very things that you thought were once impossible. I'm going to show you a few things that I've realized, and I'll start off by saying this. The reason why you're not where you want to be is because you're lying about your ability. It is not because you lack ability. It is because you are believing a lie based on somebody's lie about themselves. In this video, the points that I will outline are: 1. Your vision is not high enough, but your judgment is. 2. Reframe and reconnect. 3. You are not who you think you are. 4. You have a 10x vision with a 2x mindset. 5. You are right where you need to be. And 6. The key to your breakthrough is to become a vessel. So without further ado, let me tell you a story about how I went from investing just about $30 and how it took me 5 years to make my first investment to now making six-figure investment on a daily basis. The person that I thought I was when I was making $30 as an investment, I still remember it, is not the person that I am right now. And matter of fact, the person that I thought I was at the time was not the person that I was. We don't take time to actually be present in the moment and accept this chapter, this very season of our lives. It's like being in the winter and thinking about the summer, being in the summer and thinking about the winter. Where you are is exactly where you need to be. And this goes to my very first point. Your vision is not high enough, but your judgment is. We're always told that we need to set realistic goals. But the truth is, high visions, high goals are never the problem. Impossible goals are what unlocks our limiting beliefs and pushes us towards a path of growth, a long-term commitment that will allow us to become the person. Small goals prevent us from ever changing the habits that lock us down. It forever puts us in this mental jail where we hold the keys to our own freedom. So do not blame your vision, your dreams, or your goals. Those are yours. Those are yours to be loyal to. Those are yours to protect. And nobody will ever understand those but you. Don't ever get that twisted. But your judgment about yourself, and how you're reflecting that on how you're judging others, and how you're reflecting others' judgment on how you judge your own self, is what the problem is. Judgment in itself is inevitable. We are forced to make decisions on a daily basis, and we cannot trust every single moment and do the analysis. But when you judge yourself to the point where you put yourself into a box to determine what it is that you are and what you're not, this is exactly the mindset that prevents you from the greatest gift in this life, which is the adventure, the finding out, the overcoming, the becoming, the exploration, the discovery, the development, and the greatest feeling in the world, which is visualizing something, walking by faith and not by sight, and allow each step along the way to lead you closer to that very thing that is so meaningful to you. You have allowed people to distract you away from your gift and your passion and tell you that you're not enough and that you don't have what it takes. This whole sphere of self-development is full of people who tell you that there's an absolute truth about life, that somehow you cannot listen to people who have not A, B, C, D, and I do not have things on my resume. You, as someone with a 15-year career, was working on over 100 billions of dollars of investments, 10 years in fitness, 20 years of education, coming from Madagascar to America, I can tell you that all those things that you see are not what it is. A lot of those things are just posturing. A lot of those things are people who have allowed their circumstances to create this imaginary throne, and we have stopped learning. I can tell you that you, as is, can be someone that teaches me a whole lot about your story, about your discipline, about your passion. And the problem happens when you are believing a lie about yourself based on somebody's lie about themselves. All those people who go out there and say they're experts, all those people, because you see them in circumstances, you put them on a pedestal. So the very first step is to allow yourself to let go of judging others, to allow yourself to stop judging yourself in that same magnitude. Judgment in itself, as I said, is not necessarily bad. But when you allow this judgment to lock you down this imaginary jail, that is the exact commitment that you need to put it on yourself, that you're going to develop the muscles of emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, and that you're going to have the accountability and ownership to do what you got to do so that you define part of your success in life is to freeing yourself from ever defining yourself as just one thing. We make the mistake of putting so much importance on this one thing that we rob ourselves of our very gift. The law of detachment, which talks about our ability to let go of the specific outcome so that we can focus on the execution, on the exploration, on the development, is a game changer. It's easy to go out there and say that you really want something. But the reason why you're not doing it is because you're so focused on the outcome and you're removing yourself from the present. That is why you need to reframe. Your past and your future are only just tools. As Benjamin Hardy and Daniel Sullivan talk about in the book 10x versus 2x, your ability to see and reframe and reconnect with a different version of how you see the world around you is the foundation of your ability to march towards your goal. You've allowed your past to define your present, and you've allowed your future to put you in a jail. Your future is a tool to disrupt your present with a vision, a goal that will light up your soul. Your past is the gratitude, awareness of where you come from, and the very foundation that will connect you with your why. The very things that you've been through were never meant to put you down. The very things that you've been through in your life were meant to lead you towards a path of finding yourself. It's so easy to go out there and say that we are not in the situation that we're in. But as the story of the two twins and the alcoholic father, one becoming someone with a great life and the other becoming a beggar, I believe. The beggar says, "What do you expect? My father was a drunken alcoholic and a bad person." And the person that achieved great things in his life also said, "What do you expect? My father, I couldn't be like him." Your ability to reframe your past into a story of overcoming, a story where your pain becomes your power, where your test becomes your testimony, is the foundation of first connecting with yourself to allow your present to be a celebration that you will turn into exploration and growth. And you are refocusing your mind, not from attacking your goal as to try to fit in with what people want you to do and try to impress other people, but you are embracing it as you have a privilege right now from the story of where you started, all the dreams that you had when you were once a kid, and you have the opportunity right now in the present to create a beautiful story of how you created your greatest transformation. And you approach it from a place of gratitude. Your approach is from a place of not allowing yourself to put other people on a pedestal and judge them in a negative way, but to see everything around you as an asset and an inspiration, and allow that to be the foundation to the values, to the personality that you develop, the goals that you set, and how every single day you develop habits that will consistently connect you and ground you within that frame of mind. That leads to my other point, which is how to define your input and your outcome. The world always puts us in situations where we define our outcome as things that must receive trophies, as things that must receive compliments, as things that are linked to specific actions in the marketplace. But what if you started defining your outcome as the very action that you're doing that's within your control? When you're waking up in the morning, are you going out there and executing on your action plan? Or are you just focusing on what somebody else is going to say about your product, about what somebody's going to say about your body, about what somebody's going to say about your personality? Reframe your outcome as the actions that you are doing, and reframe your input as the things that you do with your mind. We underplay and underestimate so the power of mindset development. The mindset and mentality is the foundation of it all. It's like trying to build great biceps and a great body and not having a deliberate plan to go out there and do resistance training or some type of training to develop your muscle. Until you actually become intentional and deliberate about putting your mind through the training, through the discomfort, through the growth, by introducing new situations, allowing yourself to learn introspectively, but also out there through new experiences, your mentality will never develop. If you actually become intentional about your mindset, through both learning through introspection and learning through the doing and the becoming present, until you do that, you will always wonder why you're falling short. Because you could be given the map, you could be given the stocks, the investments, you could be given software, the equipment. But until you're willing to connect with your mind and develop it as your input that nobody else but you will ever see, you will always have an imposter syndrome. Which leads to my next point. You are not what you think you are. The idea of who you think you are is not actually real. Who you are is at the intersection of your vision of the future, your interpretation of the past, and your decision in the present. Let me say it again. Who you are is at the intersection of your vision of the future, your interpretation of your past, and your decision in the present. When you have this approach to defining who you think you are, you learn to vibrate at a whole different level where you understand that you are the CEO and owner of your actions, that you are the main character in your story, that you have the power within, and how you internalize yourself and your identity to go out there and reflect that to everything that you do. And that it all starts with you. Be, do, have. And imposter syndrome in itself is when you allow yourself to focus on lack instead of focusing on the present. We are always put in situations where we think we don't have what it takes, but it is because you're actually not thinking about the present. The ideas that you have, the inspiration that you have, the desperation that you have, the situation that you are so mad about, the situation that you don't want to be in, those are the things that should be driving you right now. Instead of focusing on the scales between you and the person that is doing this thing that you want for the last 10 years and so forth, you need to focus on why it is that you need to do what you got to do. That's becoming present, accepting your pain, accepting your struggle, accepting the idea that you have, accepting the motivation that you have, and allow your why, allow your ideas, allow your passion, allow your love for the craft to drive you, and not put yourself on your own path and stop yourself from allowing these great things to shine through your humanness and not despite your humanness. The very reason why you're not allowing yourself to do that is because you're focusing on lack. You're focusing on creating this imaginary scenario between you and these things that you're putting on a pedestal. When you're making your very first investment, when I made my first investment of $30, the only reason I was able to make that investment is because I accepted that this is where I needed to start. If I kept believing that I needed to make $1,000 investment to start, I would have never started. If I kept believing that I needed to know what I needed to do to start, I would have never done it. But once I accepted that I needed to go through this chapter of my life and to be present in that moment with whatever mistakes I was going to make, with whatever impression other people would have of me, until I was focused on that as my reality, I did not do it. And it took me years to get there. But what I realized is when I set up the momentum by taking on that step that started with me being accountable with myself and who I thought I was, I set up such a powerful momentum. And this $30 investment turned into $100, $100 into 500, 500 to 1,000, 1,000 into 5,000, 5,000 into 20,000. What we don't realize is that growth is not linear. Growth is exponential. And where you think you are right now is not where you're going to be. But where you're going to be is never going to be a reality until you accept where you are right now. And you stop judging yourself based on the person that you actually are not. And you make a decision that you are embracing your moment right now, that you're not happy with what you have, but that you also are grateful. And when you combine this gratitude with also understanding and accepting your pain and what you really want in your life, you create such a powerful connection with yourself that nobody will ever understand. It is not about running away from yourself. To eradicate imposter syndrome, it is about being aware and allowing yourself to let go and accept your responsibility in that process. To understand that the growth journey starts with you and can only happen by taking it one step at a time. Which leads to my next point: 10x vision and 2x mindset. You will have to change your mindset if you want to execute on your 10x vision. We always keep the same limiting beliefs and the same perspective of the world when we actually want to 10x our money, 10x our body. If you want to get a great body, you have to let go of this mindset that you cannot do this, and that with your food or with your fluids, with your exercise. You have to allow yourself to become somebody that you've never been. You have to allow yourself to let go of your old identity. You have to allow your new identity to outdo your old identity so that you can become the person you want to be. There is no way you will achieve your 10x vision with a 2x mindset. You must elevate your mindset by elevating your standards and elevating your expectation of your inputs, not the expectation of your outputs. Don't allow, again, your outputs, which are determined by people's feedback, to prevent you from putting in the input. Start with your input and allow that to seamlessly and inevitably lead you towards creating the output that will be so good that nobody will ever be able to deny it. It leads to my next point, which is to become a vessel. We make the mistake in our lives of consistently thinking too much about ourselves, but to actually realize your goal, you have to allow that passion, that big idea that you have to drive you. You have to allow this great vision that you have to transform your life, to drive you, and stop thinking about the 100 million obstacles along the way. To be successful takes a level of imagination, a level of connection with this bigger story, this bigger vision, this bigger philosophy that only you know, that only you can protect. But you have to become a vessel. You have to understand that yes, you're connecting with yourself, but until you're willing to allow those ideas to flow through you, that you are able to become your most creative self, that you are able to allow yourself to make mistakes. When you're out there playing your favorite hobby, your favorite sports, when you're out there in your relationships, when you're out there in your investment, allow the things that you're learning to shine through you. Stop putting yourself on the way. And again, that starts with accepting that you are a vessel and that it doesn't end with you and that there's something greater that you're part of and that you right now are just the person, the messenger of this greater achievement, of this greater difference, of this greater meaning that your life will be about. Allow yourself to be more. Allow yourself to not just be about yourself. And you will see how everything in your life will suddenly open up. One thing for me that has really changed my life is to think about the people that I can impact and allow that to drive me. One thing that has helped me is think about the life that I'm able to create for my family and allow that to drive me. One thing that has helped me is allow my passion for development, my passion for mind, mentality, philosophy to drive me and to shine through me and to stop thinking about how I look in front of the camera and to stop thinking about what people are thinking about me. Allow myself to truly immerse into the craft and let that shine as is in the present, accepting that I am who I am right now and that destiny has put me in this situation right now for a reason. As I said at the beginning of this video, the reason why you are where you are is not because of your ability. It is because of your liability. And you're lying to yourself and believing a lie about yourself that's based on somebody's lie about themselves. Learn to commit 100% to the process. Learn to use everything around you as a tool that you can use through the different seasons of your life. Allow yourself to not be defined by a box. Allow yourself to become a vessel. Allow yourself to adapt and make in-game decisions. Allow yourself to learn to make mistakes, to look like a fool. Allow yourself to shine through your humanness. And you will see how certain things that looked impossible before and how those impossible goals that you had in your mind before now seem right within your reach. And now one step turn exponentially into a second step, then a third step, and a fourth step, and a fifth step. And through repetition, consistently over an extended period of time, through your commitment, your relentless commitment to this journey, you will see how your life can change. And the person you will be the person that will be so grateful about how you took the steps right now and you kept on going, even when everything didn't seem like you were able to. As always, wherever you are, wherever you come from, you're destined for greatness. Get busy living, not busy dying.